Hello guys. So coming to the today's video, let's discuss about Placoderms, the Paleozoic era fishes and So in the previous class, we have seen about the Ostracoderms. So 1.3 subunit లో మనకి different phylums of fishes గురించి ఇచ్చారు. So Ostracoderms video చూడకపోతే go through that video and come back to this video because this is an continuation video. So coming to the placoderms, these are the first vertebrates with jaws anamata. So earliest vertebrate with jaws ni we call them as placoderms. So if you see their skin, plate laga untadi. I mean protected by a bony plates anamata. So hence we call placo as plate and derma as skin. That is it. So they were protected by the external heavy bony plates తోటి ప్రొటెక్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఐ మీన్ ఈదర్ ది హెడ్ పార్ట్ కానీ ట్రంక్ పార్ట్ కానీ ఆర్ కంప్లీట్ బాడీ కానీ బోనీ ప్లేట్స్ తో ప్రొటెక్షన్ ఉంటుంది అనమాట. Next, that flourished during Devonian period but became extinct by the end of Permian. So Devonian period మొత్తంలో they have increased their number, but by the end of Permian they have become extinct అనమాట. Done. And so Paleozoic ఎరాలో మాత్రమే they have completely lived కాబట్టి we call them as Paleozoic fishes అని అంట because they have lived flourished completely in the Paleozoic era. And they have adapted for different modes of life, like they have adapted for fresh water, marine water, different kind of environmental conditions ki they have adapted anamata. Next, they have the primitive type of jaws. The upper jaw was fused with the skull anamata. So I have said you first vertebrates who will be having the jaws are placoderms. So ఈ placoderms కి jaws ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో అది primitive conditions లో ఉంది because the upper jaw is completely fused with the skull and they have the paired fins. Paired fins are present. That is pelvic fins and pectoral fins are present. Next, spiracles are absent. So they generally don't have the spiracles. And this placoderms, if you see, Permian period ke end lo they have extincted anamata. So they have lived for only shorter period of time. So అందుకే వీటిని మనం unsuccessful ancient experiment అని కూడా అంటాం. In the evolution of gnathostomes, they are the first vertebrates having the jaws, but they have lived for only short period of time అనమాట. సో అందుకే దాన్ని మనం unsuccessful ancient experiment అని కూడా అని అంటాం. Then this comprises of three main classes. Class 1, Acanthodi. Class 2, Pocosti. Class 3, Pteryctis. So coming to the scientific classification, it belongs to the kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, subphylum Vertebrata, infraphylum Gnathostomes. That is, all the organisms of placoderms have the jaws, and the class Placoderm. This is the scientific classification. So now let's discuss about different class. ఈ త్రీ క్లాసెస్ యొక్క క్యారెక్టరైజేషన్ చూద్దాం. క్లాసిఫికేషన్ అండ్ క్యారెక్టరైజేషన్ మాత్రమే మనకి అడిగారు. Coming to the first class, that is Acanthodi. So the position of this Acanthodi has been controversial for a very long time. దీన్ని ఎలా పొజిషన్ చేయాలి, దేంతో లింక్ చేయాలి అనేది దర్ వాజ్ ఎ బిగ్ కంట్రవర్షియల్ థింగ్ అనమాట. సో ప్రీవియస్లీ అయితే దే హ్యావ్ ఇంక్లూడెడ్ దిస్ Acanthodi in the Elasmo branch fishes. But later, Watson have called this Acanthodi as a primitive gnathostomes అని ఇంక్లూడ్ చేశారు. Later, Parker and Haswell included Acanthodi under class Placodermi. But now, a recent study in చెప్తుంది అంటే Acanthodi is now considered as an separate class. So this is neither an Elasmo branch, nor a Gnathostoma, nor a Placodermi. We can include this Acanthodi as a separate class అన్నమాట. సో ఫర్ దిస్ కేస్ మనకి 1.3 యూనిట్లో కూడా అకాంథోటీ అని సపరేట్గా అడిగారనమాట. ఎలా అయితే ఆస్ట్రాకోడమ్స్ ప్లాకోడమ్స్ అడిగారో. సో ఐల్ బి డిస్కసింగ్ దిస్ ఇన్ ద నెక్స్ట్ వీడియో. అకాంథోటీ ఇట్స్ క్లాసిఫికేషన్, జనరల్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్ సపరేట్గా డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం. సో బికాస్ ఇట్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ ఇంక్లూడెడ్ యాజ్ అన్ సపరేట్ క్లాస్ ఇన్ ప్రజెంట్ వేస్. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ఐ మీన్ అందులో నుంచి కూడా యూ కెన్ యాడ్ అప్ few points. ఒకవేళ ప్లాకోడర్మీ అడిగితే you can include the Acanthodi and add a few points from that videos. Then coming to the next class, that is Cocosti, or we also call as Arthrodira. So coming to this Cocosti, these are the armed fishes, I mean well protected by the bony plates and mata. They were most successful vertebrates, and of the Devonian period. So if you see the Devonian period, Cocostea were the most successful, but they have become extinct very soon. తొందరగా extinct అయిపోయాయి అన్నమాట. So example is Cocosteus. So I'll show you the diagram of this Cocosteus once. This is the Cocosteus అన్నమాట. So let's discuss about its characteristics. Yeah, it is a fast swimming and long animal with 60 centimeters longer, and head kani thoracic regions are well protected by the bony plates, and the rest of the body parts ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో they are covered by scales itself. Head thoracic region మాత్రమే covered protected by bony plates. And the bony head కి ఏవైతే bony plates cover అయి ఉన్నాయో, so the bony plates of head were joined by very strong shields. They are joined together for giving high amount of protection అన్నమాట. So the head can be moved easily up and down as the skull was joined to the heavy shoulders. So if you see the head part or skull part, it has been directly joined to the heavy shoulders. So అందుకే the cocosteus can easily move their head up and down. And there are two strong bony plates attached to the skull anamata. So these two strong bony plates which are attached to the skull will be functioning as an teeth anamata. So they will be functioning opposite to or against the lower jaw, which is also a strong, and this lower jaw is attached to the hinder part of the skull. Done. So anterior part will be having two strong bony plates which are attached to the skull and which will be acting as an teeth anamata, so that it will be helpful for breaking the flesh or food into smaller parts. And next characteristic, coming to the lower jaw, it was movable and it is made up of single large bone. And this animal has efficient tearing mechanism. So anterior part, I mean upper jaw lo two bony plates are there, so they will be functioning as an teeth, so that it can easily tear the flesh or food which has been captured by it. And coming to the eyes, they are larger eyes and they have ring-like bony plates ఉన్నాయి, which are helpful for protection for this eyes అన్నమాట. And they have nostrils ఉన్నాయి. At the anterior end of the head, you can see the presence of nostrils. And generally operculum is absent. So generally operculum function ఏంటి? Protection of the gills. If you see fish యొక్క sides కి, there is, if you open the operculum, you can see the presence of gills అన్నమాట. So in case of cocosteus, gills are probably protected by the bony plates. Lateral extension of bony plates are the protecting organs for the gills. So if you see the tail is the heterocircle. If you see anterior position is long and posterior is a bit short. And a single dorsal fin and a pair of small pelvic fins are present. You can see this is the dorsal fin, and these two are the paired pelvic fins are present, and also paired pectoral fins are also present. And you can see the notochord which is persistent throughout the life of the cocosteus. So coming to the diagram of the cocosteus, if you see, so these are the bony plates. I have said you two bony plates are present on the upper jaw, which will be acting as an teeth anamata. So this is that bony plates. And if you see the lower jaw, which is strong, made up of only single large bone and Japan, and this is the head shield, and this is the hinge or the gap between the head and the trunk part anamata. So this is the thoracic part shield, and this is not naked body, which is not covered by any kind of bony plates. And this is the heterocircle tail fin, and this is the single dorsal fin and paired pelvic and pectoral fins. So this is all about the cocosteus. Simple thing చెప్పనా, if you remember this diagram with the parts, most of the general characteristics are covered. Maximum general characteristics ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో ఈ diagram తో కవర్ చేసేయచ్చు. అండ్ ఇప్పటిదాకా నేను చెప్పిన ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ డయాగ్రామ్ చూసి కూడా చెప్పేసాను. సో దట్ ఇఫ్ యూ రిమెంబర్ ది డయాగ్రామ్, యూ కెన్ ఆల్సో రైట్ ది జనరల్ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్. మోస్ట్లీ యూ కెన్ కవర్ ఇట్ అప్. Then coming to your third class, that is pterychtis. So it is also called as antiarchy. So this class is represented by pterychtis and Bothriolapis. And coming to the protection, the head and thoracic region are protected by the bony shield. And coming to the head attachment, I mean, bony shields attachment with the head was completely different. If you compare with the cocosteers, it is completely different. And they relatively have weaker jaws. And they have the paired eyes, which are located very close to each other on the dorsal side of the head. You can see the eyes. And a pineal eye opening is also present between the eyes. And pectoral appendages are made up of number of bony plates and attached to the body of a movable joint. So there are pectoral appendages which are protected by many number of bony plates and matter. Next, you have this medial dorsal fin is also present. Tail is heterocircle, and they have these scales which are present on the trunk and tail of this pterychtis, and there are no scales present in Bothriolepis. So if you see the Bothriolepis diagram, you cannot see any kind of presence of scales. So let's see the diagrams. This is the diagram of Bothriolepis. So if you see the diagram, it is very smooth and it is, I mean, head కానీ మనకి trunk part కానీ it is protected by bony shield, of course. But if you see the major part of the body which is not protected by any kind of tails ఏవి ఉండవన్నమాట. సో పాయింట్ ఏం చెప్పా, ఇట్ హ్యాస్ అ పేర్డ్ ఐస్ క్లోజ్ టుగెదర్ ఆన్ ది డార్సల్ సైడ్. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, డార్సల్ సైడ్ లో 2 ఐస్ విల్ బి వెరీ క్లోజ్ టుగెదర్, దగ్గర దగ్గర ఉంటాయి. అండ్ దిస్ ఇస్ ది డార్సల్ ఫిన్ విచ్ ఇస్ anterior dorsal fin and posterior dorsal fin. And hypocaudal lobe, this is the epicaudal lobe. Altogether tail is the heterocircle. If you see, epicaudal is longer compared to the hypocaudal. It will be having a pelvic fin and the pectoral appendages are also present. Then, and in between this two eyes, you can see the opening which we call it as pineal opening kuda untundi. And if you see the head part and this thoracic part is covered by the bony plates for the purpose of protection. And if you see the jaws part, they have a weak kind of jaws. Ikkadi position lo they have the very weak jaws compared to the coccosti. Done. Idi kuda ante. If you remember the diagram, like how the fish looks, Bothriolepis looks, you can write the general characteristics, including in pterychtis. So this is all about the placoderm, including 3 classes: acanthodi, kisti, and pterychtis. So acanthodi gurinchi we'll see in the next class very deep ante general characteristics classification and chuddam with the help of diagrams as well. So hope you like the video. Thank you.